Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 171.
The one with the spring break RADnesia, Adam Sandler movies.
This week on Cup of Rad. Spring break! Oh yeah! Woo!
I don't know why I just pictured the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh yeah! Bursting through the walls into your ears to talk about spring break goodness. Woo! Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, spring break.
Spring break. Week 1 is over for us. I don't know. Some places have 1 week. Some places have 2. We're one of the lucky places that we get 2 weeks. That's right, 2 weeks. But that means our school goes a little longer in the summer. So by week.
You know, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that spring break is actually like always the last couple weeks of March, which, you know, okay, so it's still funny. Spring break, the concept of like, especially how you say it, spring break, still reminds me of like what used to like air on MTV, all the Florida spring break college kids, right? And I never understood it because our spring break when I grew up was always the week after Easter. It moved every single year. So it was never in March. So I'm like, well, then college people have spring break in March. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we come to Canada and they're the same thing. I was like, wow, these kids, like, it's so nice to always just have it the same time.
Yeah.
And this is what they're talking about with the spring break idea, right? And, but yeah, it's just a weird thing. But I know it's even changed a little bit even down there. I think they're not always just, because I think it's better to have it more of a standard set time rather than with it moving with Easter.
Well, down there, when we were down there, we got gypped because like it would just combine it with Easter.
Yeah.
And then you lose out on 2 days because it's combined with Easter.
Yeah.
Like now we get spring break for 2 weeks and then we get Easter.
Yeah, exactly.
So then it's like even more special.
And then because it's a holiday, Good Friday and Easter Monday is a holiday here for schools, right? Opposed to down there, Good Friday is not an actual holiday in the States. And then Easter Monday, of course, is not, but it never was an issue for us because it was spring break. Right? So anyways, there's history lessons of different school systems.
Random. So spring break is upon us. And what does Cup of Rad love to do on spring break? If you've been with us from the beginning, you will know that every spring break that we do something amazing. We do something spectacular. We sit on our asses and watch a ton of movies. Even more than usual. Actually, no, we actually watched less, probably.
Well, we kind of did some preparation for spring break. Actually.
No, preparation H.
Why would you say that?
Because I heard preparation and I saw.
We prepared for it earlier. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes. So we watched some movies, but we had other things that we did this time around and just played games and whatnot. So.
Yeah. So this is going to be this is spring break week 1.
Yes.
Week 2 will be coming at you with something else. So, but week 1 was all about the Sandman. That's right. Adam Sandler.
You said Sandman. I'm like, Sandman? What the hell are you talking about?
It's a Sandman. Okay,
I've never once heard that before.
Oh, you hurt my soul.
Oh, really? Are you really that surprised?
Yes.
Why? Why would it?
Because you love SNL and you love Adam Sandler. And the Sandman.
Okay. Learn something new.
So this is okay. So you heard that intro, right? That intro could be our new intro if you like it. It was actually done by moi on the ukulele.
Yes, we're trying things out.
So it's kind of it's supposed to be like the RADnesia.
You got a RADnesia riff going on.
RADnesia, right? So that's kind of, my singing is spectacular right now.
Oh, it's
I need
good.
to drink more coffee. But it's kind of like that kind of vibe. That's what we're going for. We might play around more with it, but if you like it, let us know.
You should have sang like an Adam Sandler-esque song for us.
Yeah, I should have. I haven't learned that well on my ukulele.
The spring break song. Next year he deserves, I think everyone should tell him spring break song is needed.
Yeah.
Or even a summer break. He's got a few once. Summer break song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on spring break. We don't wear pants. Look, there's a beer in one of my hands.
There you go. See? I mean, he's already got the lyrics going. It's good stuff.
And I totally passed out. I am a fucking joke.
Oh, goodness. We're what, a few minutes in and we've already...
And it is spring break, so pizza's all I'll choke.
Well, that was one rendition of what we could do.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's from The Fly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad because he just made that up now. So
and it helps only because we're thinking Sandler, so I was thinking of the Sandler song.
Yeah, specifically. Very specific.
Scooba-Libba-Dooba-Doo!
I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have given you coffee. It's decaf coffee. And because I'm glad. He doesn't apparently need caffeine. We drank wine earlier, figured we didn't need more alcohol, you know.
People are crying right now, probably from the fact that we're decaffeinated.
We're decaffeinated and not liquored up. I mean, geez, oh.
Like, you have to break all the secrets. Like, you gotta leave some illusion there.
Okay, it's still sugar? I don't know.
So we dive into the Sandler verse of what's. There's a movie. Seeing as everyone's doing a multiverse, Sandler should do the Sandler verse.
Yeah.
And pull an Eddie Murphy and play all his like iconic characters in one cataclysmic, earth-shattering movie.
That would be pretty epic.
Right?
Huh. Interesting.
There's a possibility. I
don't know. I mean, if he feels like he needs to do some other acting and doesn't need to continue on the train of like bad movies, he could like revisit and it'd probably still be a bad movie, but it would be funny.
Right? Like, yeah. They should do the SNL verse and like bring back all the SNL characters into one movie.
That would be pretty. Mike Myers could do that too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He's got a new Netflix show coming out this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That looks weird.
I wonder if he'll still be relevant though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Because that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, right now we are doing a full RADnesia of Adam Sandler movies.
Yes.
We picked out 4 movies that we both enjoyed.
Yeah.
That we figured that we would go on. And these are full RADnesia. We're looking at them through the lens of nostalgia, where we remember them as being amazing and hilarious, but do they stand the test of time? After not watching them for years, did we watch them and go, oh dear God,
what were we thinking? And we also wanted to share them with Kiddo.
Because that's the beauty of spring break. We share these movies with Kiddo. Yep.
So, what was our first one we decided to dive into?
Billy Madison.
Yep.
So, Billy Madison is the child heir of a hotel fortune, and he is supposed to take over the hotel fortune, but then it's found out that he can't.
He's spoiled and dumb and lazy.
Yeah. And so he makes the bet that if he can do all his school years over again, then he can become the CEO or whatever.
Yeah, so it's 2 weeks for each grade and basically redo all of his education and prove that he can do everything like that. Yeah, it's this is very near and dear to your heart. I've seen the movie and I have enjoyed it, but it's not one of my like top Adam Sandler movies.
The Penguin Man.
I remember it way more than I thought I would, and I laughed a lot more at it. But this was interesting and fun to watch. What are your thoughts on it then?
You know, there wasn't actually as much as I thought it was going to be more cringe. Mm-hmm. I was surprised. It actually held up pretty well for being ridiculous. There was a few kind of spots where it was a bit of like okay, well, they didn't need to do that. Especially like with the transsexual magazine and even like the having the dwarf in it. Like those were played only for laughs of like the uncomfortableness. Right. And
well, I know that the magazine was more uncomfortable for me wondering about what Kiddo would say.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there was that separation of, am I cringing as a parent or am I cringing, it was an interesting idea too, right?
But there was the idea too of, I was surprised. It's rated PG.
Yeah. And there was a lot of moments where I'm like, oh goodness.
There's a lot of sex in this.
So one of Kiddo's scenes that he repeatedly pointed out afterwards and laughed about the most was his wall of
boobies. in the porta potty.
In his porta potty, in his
booty
stall
wall,
of his
booty
outside room. Kiddo thought that was hilarious. He doesn't understand the reason that it was there. But
or so he says.
He says. But he just thought it was hilarious. That's what he took away from it. And that's what he focused on, which was quite funny.
Now, for me, I always remembered Mr. Penguin. Mr. Penguin. Come on, Mr. Penguin. I gotta take you back to the South Pole. It's okay. You can trust me, Mr. Penguin. And that was still my favorite part of the movie.
You were still hysterical.
I think it's hilarious to think that he's that inebriated that he is seeing a penguin, and the penguin is the size of a human being.
Right? He doesn't even question it, and all the people around him, he's not questioning that.
Yeah.
No one can see it or anything like that. Yeah.
And I love later when he decides to get trashed again, and he goes over and the penguin is at her place, and he's just like, "Oh, Mr. Penguin, you're here. I see what's going on." Right? And he's just like, "Fine, you can have it, Mr. Penguin." Right? And it's just hilarious. Like, to think that he's that in his own bubble that you know.
Kiddo thought he was crazy for laughing so hard. He kept looking at Mike being like, "Why do you think this is funny?" Which was amusing in its own right.
Yeah, Kiddo did not put this as a, "I want to watch this again." He put this as a, "Y'all crazy."
Yeah, I think that needs to be, and it's done with now. Thank goodness.
That needs to be the reaction thing for. It's either going to be like thumbs up from Kiddo, or it's going to be like, "Y'all crazy."
Yeah.
Because that was pretty much the look we got. We were both, Katie and I, were still laughing at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
And he just was like, "I'm done talking about this. I'm going to bed."
He did laugh quite a bit. I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. Nope. He had problems.
Yeah, with. It really was a struggle.
Yeah.
For him.
He did think it was hilarious, the giant parties he had when he was graduating each grade, though.
Each grade.
He was just like, I think he just couldn't understand the humor that it was talking about with that of the over the top and everything like that. So.
He graduated from kindergarten. Here's a party.
Right. And they just kept getting bigger and bigger. Right?
Yeah.
But,
do you have any favorite parts from it?
I don't know. I mean, I love that he actually, like, he does figure everything out. I have a hard time because he's not really a likable person for so much of the start of the movie. And I really, so that, like, when he starts changing and coming around and being a better person when he doesn't have his friends around to, before, when he stops drinking, it shows it really does show the bad influence of alcohol, and peer pressure, honestly, those two things. When he's away from that, he's a much more enjoyable person. And so I like those moments of it when he's got clarity and sincerity in his actions. But overall, I have a harder time really finding a connection with him. Yeah. So I don't know if favorite parts or anything. I know your favorite part is the penguin.
This penguin. I also love Steve Buscemi in this for the fact that he is when Billy Madison calls him up and says, "I'm really sorry for picking on you when we were kids." God,
yes.
And he turns and crosses off the people to die list. And at the end of the movie, he shows up again and saves the day by shooting the guy.
Right.
And then he just like waves and then walks off.
Like, I've done my duty. Like, I have helped out. And it's like, holy crap, he is a freaking psycho.
Yeah.
And it's just like casual. Like, it's just totally understandable that he was... Because, like, that definitely is a funny scene. Yeah. Because he seems just so calm. Like, I really appreciate you calling. And he's just like, holy shit, super psychopath. Yeah. So.
I one thing I think that I watch this and I see that, like, being that it was only rated PG, right? Was the fact that we don't make irrelevant comedies like this anymore. Yeah. And I think that's the enjoyment. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. There's a lot of weird shit that happens. And it's PG. Yeah. This same movie now would be rated R and there would be a lot more push the edge.
Well, like, almost like Seth gross. Rogen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There'd be a lot more like,
there'd be harder intense drugs or more sex and stuff like that. Yeah.
And like for the fact that and it's just the edgy, and it falls into the same realm as some of the other SNL movies or actors from SNL that kind of made the jump, that they were in these movies that were PG or just at PG-13, where they were edgy enough where you're like, I shouldn't really be watching this.
Yeah.
Like when you're that age.
Yeah.
Right. To find the comedy. Right. Because like now with my job and all that, they talk about Seth Rogen movies and they talk about those kind of things. And like they're watching stuff that's R-rated. And I don't know if there's a lot of understanding. I don't know if that breeds a lot of like some of the extra frustration.
Well, you got to think like if that was the pushing and edginess for it
in the 90s,
and then so now if that's the pushing edging it, then where do they go when they get older?
Yeah.
What movies do they find?
Yeah.
That grows up with them.
Yeah.
If they're already watching the R-rated movies when they're, the
same 12. Age I would have been when I watched this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So we need to have those PG-13 movies where it's still acceptable in your age range, a little bit edgier for people, but you still have a step up for when you turn to be 16, 17, even when you're like, oh, I'm going to really push the edge again. Yeah. Oh, now I'm watching an R-rated movie. Yeah. Opposed to where do we go?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why even the R-rated movies then are getting like really intense.
Okay, right.
So, yeah.
So that was something. But you know what? It still filled my cup.
I'm still enjoying it.
There wasn't anything that I was like, oh my God, I never want to watch this again.
Yeah.
There was no, and it also didn't feel like I was blinded by nostalgia for it, except for Mr. Penguin.
Yeah.
Like besides that, like, but I still felt it. I still laughed, and it was genuine laugh. It wasn't like cringeworthy laugh. Yeah. So, full RADnesia. Billy Madison filled that cup. So we're on for another RADnesia moment.
This is one of my favorite.
This is the one you're waiting for.
Is Happy Gilmore.
There you go.
I watched this so many times I can't even count when I was younger. I don't even know why. Like I loved it so much. I watched it all the time. But maybe
you had a golf thing that I found out when we were watching this. You liked watching golf.
Oh, one of my boyfriends was a golfer, and that's the only reason I'm like, oh, let's try to find golf. I really hated it. I'm sorry. I know people love golf. I don't find the appeal in it, but this movie, I think, because it was later on, it must have just come out in a better timing for me. But yeah, so I was really excited to watch it again. Yeah. And to show kiddo.
So what is Happy Gilmore about?
So Happy Gilmore is basically, he is he wants to be a hockey player. He calls himself a hockey player. He has never actually been a hockey player because all he can really do is a slap shot. He does he can't do anything else.
Can't even skate.
He can't skate. He can't maneuver the puck. He can't do anything, but he can hit the puck hella hard. So he basically finds out that he can drive this golf ball on accident. And he does this crazy shot and he starts making money off this driving course, and he basically gets roped into joining the PGA Tour and finding a spot onto this tour, and because he's trying to earn money to save his grandmother's house that has been repossessed by the IRS. And so he's got to come up with this crazy amount of money. And so he's doing this tour, but he's totally crass and has no manners, and he's, on the golf course wearing a hockey jersey and sweat shorts, basically.
Beating up people.
And yeah, he's got a really bad temper. And of course, everything that you don't think of when you think of golf, all the control and everything, right? So, from a PR standpoint, he's a bit of a nightmare, but viewership is up because it's like this whole new level of people that want to see golf. And so they're kind of that in between. But then we have the star of the show this year, and he of course is not impressed
because he's trying to get the gold jacket.
He's trying to get the jacket. So it's that battle back and forth, and him, assuming that he can win everything just by hitting it hard. Mm-hmm. And not actually putting the effort of learning how to putt in, because he does great until he has to putt, and then he does terrible. So then he does eventually, put some effort in, and in the midst of all of this, it's a love story, and he's falling in love with the marketing PR girl, basically, for the PGA Tour. So
all Adam Sandler movies are romantic movies.
They are, yes.
The hapless loser falls a really beautiful, successful woman.
Yep.
in some form.
Yeah.
And
because even Billy Madison was still the crux of everything he was doing, was all still about, falling for his teacher.
Yeah.
You know, what, third grade teacher, I think she was, fourth grade teacher, which is just hilarious. So this one here, I still loved every moment of it.
Yeah.
Like, I still laughed at all the same stuff. He's still just so over the top ridiculous, and his humor his temper that he has, and his freakouts. And I still found it hilarious. So what are your thoughts?
I really like Happy Gilmore because it's just the ridiculousness of the golf game that is in it, and the hitting, like the fact that he's able to just whack the ball, get it right to the green, and then just bomb. Right. And those first few ones are just hilarious to watch. And his tantrums are what I would feel.
Yeah.
I felt mini golfing. Right. When you're looking at it and you just want to lay down and get in your hole. The hole is your home.
Don't you want to go home? Don't you want to go home?
Is your home too good for you? Like,
I have literally had that conversation mini golfing before.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's showing the tediousness that it can be. And then also some of those ridiculous habits that or practices and norms that golf has.
Yeah.
You know, even just the clothing, like, why do you have to wear the certain style of uniform to golf? Like, what's the point? Some of it makes sense to try. Some of it does.
Yeah.
But some of it, like, why not?
Yeah.
Be able to wear something comfortable. Like, you know, and I one thing, of course, when you're on a PGA tour, I get it. There's a certain level of, uniform that you want to project an image, but at the same time, at least question it. Like, why? You know, it's not like you're wearing protective gear like hockey or baseball or football requires. Like, so. Yeah.
This was another one where I didn't really feel very cringe moments or anything that was like completely out there.
Yeah.
Where, it was completely, bothersome.
Yeah, there's not really anything. I think it aged well still, right? Because it's not really talking about a time in history of any sort, right? Or a relevant topic. I mean, golf, it still is.
But they didn't really go in any ways that could be offensive, really, in this one that I recall, right?
Yeah.
This one Kiddo enjoyed.
Yes.
He laughed at it. He was really into it. It was hilarious to watch him be so frustrated when he couldn't putt at the beginning, right? And was just like,
he had the whole, oh no,
right?
Like, oh, so close. He was getting all into it too, right? So because I mean, it still has some of the commentary on sexism aspects too. I can't remember suddenly the bad guy's name now. Tapper. I don't remember what his name is. But how badly they treated the lady with, it's like, you need to just wait on me and I'm too good for you. He treated everyone like he was better than anyone else. But it was very much like
Shooter McGavin. There we go. And it was Virginia. So yeah, Virginia was just there to get him, beverages and just to do whatever he wanted to and make everything happen, and Happy never treated her like she was like a caddy.
Yeah.
I love when he gets his caddy. The caddy is the hobo.
Yes. Well, his first one with the kid was just hilarious because the kid tries helping him and he starts beating the kid up. And then, the hobo, which is, some of those jokes on there was quite funny. When he's out bathing. But his mentor is Chubbs. Yes. Played by Carl Weathers. Yes. So poor Chubbs and his harm and his from the gator. Falling out of the window. The gator. Yeah. Good stuff. But yeah, do you have any favorite moments of Happy? I like the whole last battle. The last scene. I especially love the chaos that happens when he runs with the car running him over and all of that touch and go stuff. Yeah. And then of course the ridiculous epic puzzle piece of shooting it up into the frame thing. Yeah. It's just so over the top, but it's just so perfect. Oh yeah. Because it's that playing the completely unexpected and the not what you're quote unquote supposed to do, but how badly it backfires with the idea of him having to play it as it lies, you know. But all the things that are starting to happen, like his old boss that has the nail in his head, and he's out there like he's got all these fans out there, and his little like posse of people that are protecting Happy, and so just that there's so much joy in it, honestly. Once he finally gets his stuff together and he's controlling himself. So
no, it filled up my cup, and I didn't feel like I was missing out. Like, it's none that I would watch again. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was, oh God, what are we watching? Yeah. Right. So.
The only thing that was like I don't know if it's cringeworthy at the same time, but the humor that was really, did that add to it, was his like, his dream idea of when he's thinking about Virginia in her little like corset thing, and then he's worried about where everyone's happy.
The happy place.
And then the midget, I don't know what is the proper term. Dwarf running around as a cowboy. Like,
wasn't that in?
No, that is him running around in the
but he's in that too.
So like,
because she was bringing him beer in a corset in Billy Madison in his dream.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember this. Yeah, I went to go talk about that, and I was like, no,
it's like it's not as long, but he has a dream like that.
Because that there.
But yes, that's in.
Because that's in Happy Gilmore, because he's thinking about what he would do with all the money, and his grandma's all happy, she's gambling and everything, and then the second time he has it, Virginia's wearing a black outfit,
and Shooter's there and making out with everybody,
and Kiddo's face when Shooter started making out with his grandma was hilarious. He's like, oh God, what's happening? Oh, which was quite funny. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. It was fun.
It filled your cup?
Yep. I was happy.
Next for our RADnesia spring break watch, The Waterboy. Mm-hmm. Now, The Waterboy, this was one that as a kid, I remember, going to theaters and seeing and laughing my ass off. And probably everyone knows someone that still to this day shouts, "You can do it!" Right? Or "You can do it all night long," right? Like,
yeah,
you probably have someone that does that, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the story of a very kind, gentle water boy that is fired from his big college job as a water boy and goes to the local college to water boy and finds out that he is actually tackler. I don't know the football term.
Yeah.
Like what position he plays.
What is that? Linebacker?
Sure.
I can't remember.
The guy that hits things.
Yeah.
And he becomes a superstar, and it goes on. So Adam Sandler plays someone that is Bobby Boucher. Mm-hmm. It's down on the bayou. So he's very stereotypical in the way that he talks. Mm-hmm. Mama is played by Kathy Bates, and she has even a thicker stereotype of an accent.
That's a good job.
But Bobby is what they call as simple.
Yeah. Well, he's been very sheltered too.
Yeah.
Everything was done more at home, and he's just very much whatever his mom says goes.
Yeah.
And he's very, as I say, sheltered in her world of that she has created for him, because she really lays on any guilt when he tries to explore the outside world.
Yeah.
So she's very much in controlling, keeping him with her.
Right. Because it's the idea that when he has a girlfriend, when he was young, she's the devil, right?
Yep.
Like everything's the devil.
Yeah.
Your dad left. He's, and these kind of things. So, it was still pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I found that out of everything we've watched thus far, The Waterboy aged the worst.
Because it has the most stereotypes in it.
Yes.
So it was harder to find the humor at the same level.
Yes.
Because, as I say, it had so many stereotypes where you're like, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best thing to have.
The bullying of the simple kid, and he's only good if he actually has a special talent.
Yeah.
Right. To help.
And it's still the commentary of the world. Unfortunately, but it's not as funny.
Yeah.
As it would have been.
And then there's and then you just even like the fact that like how many accents and all that are just so like, you know,
The Cajun accent where he's just literally speaking gibberish.
yeah. Right. And so like there's those moments where I feel it didn't age as well. It kind of was a little bit more cringeworthy for some of the things that happened.
There was a lot of jokes where I'm like, oh,
that didn't hit as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there was still moments where I laughed, and there's still things that I thought was funny.
My favorite thing was how awesome his girlfriend actually is.
Yeah.
Like, she's supposed to be this like more criminal, like hard-edged person.
Yeah.
But she really legitimately and like loves him.
Yeah, cares about him.
And it's so sincere.
Yeah.
And she's not doing it for any other reason than she actually really does love him.
Because she's always been around. She just showed up at the time because she just got out of jail.
Yeah.
Right?
So I really enjoyed that because it never changes.
She never wanted money from him. She never wanted...
She doesn't want anything. And it wasn't like she just showed up when he was becoming popular or famous or anything. And she does so much to help him out and to show...
him there's a larger world.
Yeah, what he actually has done for everyone. Yeah. Whether right or wrong, of whether they're, you know, suddenly liking him because of what he's done for them. Yeah. But she is basically like, everyone else is seeing what I've always seen. Yeah. And I need you to understand that. And it's like, that was the best part of that. That was the most touching. And so I really enjoyed that aspect. Oh, yeah. Even more, I found that so much more enjoyable than the humor aspect of it now. You know, I never really appreciated that storyline portion of it until now, right? So. Yeah. I think the thing that Kiddo liked the most in this was the hits, the sound that he made. Because even when we was watching the movie, he was laughing at that. And after a while, when he would charge us, he'd go, right? So, those moments, right? Yeah. Do you have any favorite parts though? Like besides the you actually found romance. You enjoyed romance. I did find romance. I liked when his the whole ending sequence of the come around, especially with his mom, because, you know, she's so terrible. She pretends that she basically had a stroke to keep him away from this football game. And so she's just terrible. When she finally does come around, because she realizes that other people, she can't just keep him for herself. Yeah. And comes around for that and tells him, and then she ends up telling him the truth about what happened to his dad, and that the reason why she holds him so close is because his dad actually left rather than being killed in the Peace Corps when he you know, took off. And so realizing that she needs to share him with the rest of the world, and then him being able to come back, and the insane last bit of that game of being able to come back, like they do a good job of having that intensity and that stressful moment of, are they going to be able to do it? And I love that Henry Winkler finds his groove again of the game, you know, because he's been so lost for so long because he was backstabbed from this coach from the other team. Yeah. And being able to realize that he can make these moves again and find his joy in football again. Yeah. So, you know, Bobby ends up helping out people in a lot more ways than he even realizes, right? So that there's a lot of still positives from it that, as I say, I didn't appreciate when I was younger, because you just see that like ridiculous humor and you laugh at that. But if you take that stuff away, there's a really good storyline underneath. But those jokes kind of bring that down a notch, of course, right? So
because it is a bit more, you know, as much as it's got a good story and you can tell they're trying to do something a little bit different, it's a little bit more juvenile in some of the aspects.
And I mean, and this was never one of my favorite ones, even when I was growing up, because, you know, for as much as I still love football, it was still like, this is really dumb. Yeah. I didn't find it as amusing, and I don't know if that was just like, this is stupid boy humor. Yeah. There was a lot of that, right? And I know I can that was the issue. But I mean, I've seen it and I remember laughing. Yeah. But it was definitely it was already kind of dumb to me. Yeah. And so I think I actually, as I say, I found almost more appreciation for it because I could find some of the not stupid boy humor in it than I ever did when I was younger. So
fair enough. But no. I see what you're saying with that. Yeah. You know, for myself, I feel that I do enjoy the football aspect probably the most in it, because it's hilarious to just watch him like be like looking at someone, and then he's like talking to him, and the quarterback be like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I didn't say that. And then he's like, just takes him out. I think that was
how scared they look like, don't hurt me, man.
Right?
Yeah.
That was, I think, some of my favorite parts in the film, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm still glad we watched it. It was good to be able to see it again, and see the different levels of humor for him too.
Totally. So
last but not least,
on our RADnesia Adam Sandler Spring Break watch,
The Wedding Singer.
The Wedding Singer.
I mean, how could we not watch this absolute classic? As much as I love Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer is by far my favorite Adam Sandler movie ever.
Yeah. I think it's the most quotable.
Yes.
For longevity, especially because of the songs, right?
And you know what? I think I hadn't watched it for quite a while, actually. And I almost had forgotten how much I truly love this movie. Yeah. I think I get caught up in remembering the end of it, and specifically the Billy Idol scene. And then I forget how much, like, the entire movie is just so amazing. Yeah. So that was really, really, really exciting to watch. I love the music in it. All the different actors and actresses in it are so good too. Yeah. The story feels so real with him having his emotional turmoil, and for me, it felt like a legitimate romance. Yeah. Because it is not something that is it comes by naturally to have them together. Yeah. And you're just so happy that they find each other because they're just with such terrible people. Yeah. And it's just so marvelous. It makes me all happy and warm and fuzzy inside.
You sang both songs.
Oh, yeah.
You sang both songs. This one here, I remember buying the CD. Yep. And because, like, when I grew up, it was the music that was at the bar at the time in the late 80s, early 90s. Right. So it was a lot of like Bon Jovi and Garth Brooks and like that kind of music. So I was ever like, oh, this is awesome music. And then at home, when I was with my grandmother, it was a lot more of like Bing Crosby and like, or nothing. Right. Like,
or
so
silence.
It took a lot for me to find music. Right. Yeah. So when I was finally starting to buy CDs and stuff, and like my car had a cassette player. Okay. I had to have one of those like portable Discman.
Oh yes,
that you then plug
the cassette into it. Yes,
yeah, that played the music, right? So that thing was like this magical, like coveted device, right? But you had to also then keep the CD player somewhere flat.
Yes, because it couldn't. If you moved it at all, it would skip.
Right? Because so you got this Discman thing, right? And we played the hell out of You Spin Me Right Round, Baby. Right?
I played that on Napster, by the way. That song was on my Napster.
And Blue Monday.
And Blue Monday, yep.
So, like, for me, what I remember most about that movie was that soundtrack. Yeah. And because it was like, I remember hearing like a lot of like 80s like hair metal bands, like rock kind of stuff.
And this was new wave pop dance music, right?
So then like when we watched the movie and I got the soundtrack, and me and my buddies, we would be in the car and we would like tool around this little town, and we would have, this just banging on the...
I think we need to listen to this more.
The I had a Chevy Celebrity. Yeah. Maroon. Oh. Chevy Celebrity. No special speakers, stock speakers. Nice. With my portable Discman, and we would drive that thing from where we lived down to the bowling alley, and we would have our "You Spin Me Right Baby, right round like a record, baby, round, right? Yeah. And you see me and Scott, right? Like, just...
Oh, I can actually picture that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? And the thing would be, like, just loud and just...
Yep. Well, see, like, my love of Billy Idol came from this. Yeah. That was a big thing for me after watching it because I would have watched it in middle school. And then I got a like a best of greatest hits Billy Idol. And that was on like a repeat for me in 8th grade. And that was like the best thing ever was Billy Idol. And I loved it so much. That's where that came from, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, you find those things, you're like, that was something that was great about once, cassettes were awesome because you could make cassettes. But like when they started making CDs cheap enough that you could go and get like best ofs and stuff.
I had so many best of songs.
And you're just like
Walmart had the best of line, and I got so many of them.
Right.
Oh, so
because even it turned out to be a band that you didn't like, you got to experience. It's hard. It's almost as much as like you subscribe to like say like the different music subscribers, you have to make almost a bit more of the effort to like stick it out.
Yeah.
Right. But when you bought a CD, you were
committed.
Like, I paid like $7, like, or 13 or something like that for this disc.
Right.
I'm going to listen to all those songs and make my own judgment. But now with streaming,
you can just
it's like, no.
Well, like, okay. So I don't know why this stuck to my head. But one of my best of, because I can picture all of these best ofs, was Cream.
Mm-hmm.
And there's very like well-known Cream songs that are still stick around, but there's a lot of weird shit as well that were still in their more quote unquote singles, but it's old music. And so when you hear this, but that was one of my best ofs that I had bought, and I was like, every single song of these has to be amazing because this is like the Cream. So like some of there's weird songs on there, but like, no, these were amazing. These had to be the best things ever. And so I will like all of them. Well, I pulled out my best of the Clash album. And I look at this and I was like, I used to know this album backwards and forwards. And then I look at it and I'm like, this song's okay. Because there still is. I only could probably tell you one other song that I really still love. Like, I mean, I still appreciate them, but love that is not still like, okay, I can say the London Calling. Everyone knows that from the Clash or anything like that. But like the Magnificent Seven, it was on there. That's a weird song. But you found these best ofs and you're like, all of these songs must be amazing. So I will love all of them equally. And you don't have to do that anymore. No. So sorry, that's my
No. Well, heck, I remember it was 20th Century Masters.
Yes.
And like we had like the White Snake album.
Oh God, because then I saw yours and I'm like, what the hell is this crap?
Right. And we had like all these things, like, but we had so many of them.
Yeah.
Like I can see there's a 20th Century Masters right there. I don't know which one it is.
Probably Cream.
I know we got rid of a lot of them. It's beside the Hendrix there.
Okay, let's find. No, that's Eric Clapton. That's also, related to Cream.
But yeah, like.
Yep. Yep. But then same with this one. Like, I mean, really, how many Eric Clapton songs do you really care about?
I can't even like tell you how many ones that we got rid of though.
Cocaine from Eric.
There's one up by Aerosmith. That's probably the Cream one.
Yep, that is the Cream one. Yeah.
Did we only keep those two out of all of the ones we had?
Let's see.
Because like that line brought out tons of music.
We had so many of them. Well, because like we have other best ofs.
Yeah, but like that 20th Century's Masters, that was like the one that we had like, there was like best of.
I used to go to Walmart and Target and buy one of those at least once a week.
Yeah, like you get paid and you went and you bought a best of.
Yeah,
right.
I kind of really miss those days, honestly. Where like then there's album that bands like I love that drop albums. They're like, oh, they brought a new album out.
Yeah.
Like, the Killers just dropped a new album. I guess I should stream it.
Right.
And I just feel like I'm not paying them any extra money. I pay for my Spotify no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad. Hey, this has gotten into a whole nother realm totally off the movie.
Yeah, but it ties back to how good that music was.
Yeah.
And how much it just.
Okay, so the song that he writes about Linda, that he's all his song that he performs. Me and Mike sat there and sang it with him. I was hysterical. You know what? I haven't laughed that hard while quoting a movie since I watched The Holy Grail with you guys.
Yeah.
I was hysterical, and Kiddo was just like, "You guys crazy."
Yeah.
Like, I was not even being able to breathe. I was laughing so hard with it. I was like, yep, this movie is still fucking amazing. And you were singing it all day this morning, actually.
Yeah.
You were just randomly walking around the house singing the song, which I forgot how much I enjoyed it. Because it's just...
I don't remember the Growing Oldie song, but I remember his,
that
like...
one. Yeah.
You are a fucking joke.
It's just... it's so real, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just... It feels like something... It's like beat poetry almost or something, right?
Yeah.
But I love the back and forth and the... of their... what they want, and they're not quite sure, and I just... It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
And then, you know, how it actually resolves itself with it.
Yeah.
And she's just so... It's adorable. Drew Barrymore, she's just so... When she finally realizes it, and he's singing the song to her, and she's just like... She could care less about Glenn, and she's just so happy that everything is okay. And just the ridiculousness of, like, the Billy Idol fan club that is on the... Nobody talks to Billy that way. And I love how he's just like, fuck yeah!
Yeah, right? No, like, it showed, too, that he's such a good being, though, because, like, you know, you're not going out talking trash about other women while you're talking about getting married to someone, right?
Right?
Like,
and
the guy's such a dirtbag in that film. Like, you just... But it's a good romantic comedy. And that's one of the things we showed Kiddo, and this was his favorite one, he said.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because whenever we talk about, like, a romantic movie, he's like, because
I didn't want to tell him that it was a romance, because he would immediately been like, nope.
Right? But he liked this one the most out of all the 4 Adam Sandler movies that we watched.
What was funny is we watched it all. I was like, so what do you think out of all the Adam Sandler movies we showed you? Wait, that was the same guy?
Yeah.
He had no idea that it was still Adam Sandler from the other ones. Yeah. And that's how different his acting was, and how a different... that movie is so much more elevated.
Yeah.
You know, it's more polished.
I think that's probably one of his best, just in terms for his comedies.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is very... Like, then
Sammy in this one is hilarious, too.
Yeah. And, like, this hit, and then they tried to replicate it too much with some of their other ones. It just didn't pay off, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Wedding Singer totally filled that cup full, spilt on our lap, burned us, and we screamed with joy. And
I'm wondering, why have we not listened to that soundtrack on repeat since then?
I don't know why.
I need to rectify this. So that's what's going to be playing tomorrow for me.
Is there any other Adam Sandler movies that you do like and enjoy that you can think of? Because there was a whole bunch that we didn't watch. Like, it was hard not to keep going. I'm
terrible for remembering off the top of my head, because I remember we were talking about some of them. Like, that movie. So to me, Happy Gilmore and Wedding Singer are my absolute favorite Adam Sandler movies. Those are my, like, must-haves. Everything else kind of falls by the wayside.
Okay.
And I know because he did so many more dramatic ones that I have seen. But what about for you? Because I know you're better at remembering all of those.
You know, like, I still enjoyed... I don't remember because I haven't watched it in a while, so it could be another RADnesia, but I still remember enjoying Big Daddy. Right?
I would like to watch that again, because I remember that too.
You know, like, I remember Little Nicky being funny, so I'm not entirely sure.
That would be...
But that one is rated R, so that one I don't know if we can show Kiddo.
Yeah.
I do like him in Punch Drunk Love.
I've never seen that. I remember you showed me that one, and I remember I was like, oh, wow, this is impressive.
But then after that, it really, for me, you know, then we had Mr. Deeds, and that was like, you know, okay.
You know what? I really wanted to enjoy Grown Ups more than I did.
Well, there was too many comedians in it. Yeah,
and I was hoping that they would be better because of that, but then they all just fighting with their own styles, and it's not enough of an Adam Sandler movie.
Right. So. It's too much of like hey, we got the gang together, we're going to make this movie because we're funny.
Yeah.
Right. But then there was a lot of ones that just kind of felt flat, and I haven't really enjoyed a Sandler movie since the 90s. Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, and that's got to be hard on a comedian.
Oh, yeah.
Because like none of his movies, I think, have hit as well since they did in the mid 90s to early 2000s. And after that, it became very generic.
Yeah. Well, they continued on the romance type.
So much of the romance,
but because him his character wasn't allowed to be as goofy or ridiculous or over the top, then it didn't have that same formula. And you don't want to see the same movie over and over again.
No.
I get it. But that's one thing I liked with, I think what was so different with Wedding Singer was that he wasn't this idiot or goofball or anything like that. He was just a really sweet guy. And the humor that came from it was because he was so heartbroken and miserable. Yeah. So he wasn't really acting like himself anymore. But when he was himself, he was just amazing. Yeah. You know, so he was, I think that was the different aspect, right? So
at the end of the day, you can watch The Wedding Singer with your significant other, Happy Gilmore with your buds, and Billy Madison with the ones that you drink a lot with, and you need some more toilet humor.
There you go.
You know, at the end of the day, that's
Adam Sandler for everyone,
right? So, that's
Spring Break RADnesia,
right in the can. Week one. What are we coming back with next week? We are coming back next week. We actually have next week planned. Spring Break Part 2. Oh yeah. The no pants party.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not wearing pants now. More 90s. We're digging into the 90s. We're finding the gems that were something that were, you know,
the elusive 90s humor.
The 90s. We got some action movies.
Yes.
90s action.
Yes.
Next week actually has a weird theme. Every movie has been connected thus far.
And we've kind of made our own connections, but it's okay.
But like
connected,
even connected.
You're right.
In some form.
Connected and then also fake connected. Yes. You know, even better.
So come back next week.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this, tell us what is your favorite Sandman movie. And
well, everyone, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful day.
And remember, stay rad.